Usually they do like a sound with this.
And a touchdown for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Hey everyone, Rick here from Hamilton Sports Central. We're here with John, who we're going to sit down and discuss the draft combine numbers, the testing from yesterday, as well as we're going to sit down and discuss John's mock draft for the upcoming CFL draft. John, what did you think of the numbers yesterday?
So, obviously, combine numbers are interesting because sometimes when you're sort of on the outside looking in, you don't really know which sort of things scouts are actually looking for or what would make a team pick a guy over another guy, like in terms of like what numbers they would use to quantify that interest. So that's why for me the combines in any league are always really interesting, but obviously with linemen, obviously what you want to see is high bench numbers, and with your receivers what you want to see is higher 40-yard dash numbers. So those are sort of some examples of what you really want to see from guys at certain positions.
And what I actually noticed the other day, leading up to the combine draft numbers, is the people that play in the States. For those that don't know, universities have pro days.
Yeah.
And if you run a good pro day, you're not doing any contests or results for the CFL draft. The reason for that is, I forget which player it was. There was a few of them that I've seen where they had a good pro day, but then if they come to the CFL combine testing, it could potentially hurt their draft stock. So that's why some of them don't do it. And then why some of them do some and not others, I have no idea.
Yeah, a lot of the top CFL prospects, at least rated by the CFL Scouting Bureau, a lot of them were not at this combine, which with a lot of them being from the NCAA, it makes sense. They probably at least hope that they might get an NFL shot, or the other option being that they just didn't want to either hurt their draft stock or they didn't want to hurt themselves doing any of these drills. So, though a lot of the top guys did not participate in this, there were still some guys to really look at here. Like, for example, Nick Senecal was a late addition to this combine roster, and as you can see, he ran a 4.79, which obviously I've been saying he's not much of a speedster, though I guess like anything under a 5 is pretty good, but he's definitely more of a possession receiver than anything.
Eden Rogers says, "Let's go." Yes, draft is actually a month today, to be honest. Anyways, what were you gonna say, John?
Yeah, and then there were some other sort of top guys. I mean, a top name guy of this draft is Shakespeare Lewis, because like I don't think I've ever seen anyone with the first name Shakespeare before. So that's actually pretty cool. But You've also got Darius McKenzie participate in this, and he is a pretty high-rated linebacker in this class. And Trey Tomlinson did not participate in any of the drills, it says, but he was at least there. And then Christian Veilleux, he is, as of right now, the top quarterback in what is, with all due respect, probably one of the worst QB classes that they've had in the last couple of years. But
The interesting thing that I see about Christian Veilleux is, didn't he start at Penn State and then go to Pittsburgh and then go to Georgia State?
yeah, he did.
Like, how do you go from a top school to another top school to one of the worst? Well, I shouldn't really say one of. Well, yeah, it is one of the worst divisions in NCAA football, and then your numbers get worse as you go to another school.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
reading this article from Three Down Nation, it says he received his first scholarship at the age of 15, and he had offers from like Penn State, Tennessee, Rutgers, South Carolina, LSU, some pretty big schools.
So when you look at thing like bench press, what does bench press prove?
Well, it sort of just proves that the
Like,
guy
is
that
it
you're looking,
strength?
yeah. It sort of just proves that the guy that you're looking at has a good amount of strength on him. Like Keegan O'Neal, he had 30 bench press reps. So obviously with him being an O lineman, that means that he's pretty strong, which is what you want for that position.
Okay, so then 40 we know is speed.
Yeah.
And obviously, usually DBs and running backs is where you would find usually the quickest players.
Yeah.
Vertical jump determines what?
It determines like I guess how
I
high
guess
you can jump.
like
How
well, yeah, I
how high
guess
you
so,
can
because if you're say like I'm just gonna call him Jess. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the guy's name because I'm gonna butcher his name, the guy from Wilfrid Laurier. If you're 6'1" and you have a vertical jump of 38, that's probably another few inches on top of what you can jump. And then the difference between a 6'1" and 7/8 inch of a receiver jumping over a DB. Like, if you think about it, look at Giovanni Robinson for the Ticats, for example. That guy's 6'8". If that guy's jumping in the air, there's no way a 6'1" is going to catch a 6'8" receiver.
Yeah. I mean the whole point is like that's how they are supposed to catch those footballs. Like that's why most of the people you see on the list in terms of highest verticals are going to be either your defensive backs or your wide receivers.
The Okay, do you know what broad determines?
Well, it's sort of just I honestly really don't know because it's just like you're starting like right here and then you jump. So I really
Okay, so I just looked it up. So the broad jump at the combine is a standardized fitness test measuring an athlete's horizon explosiveness, lower body
oh
power,
yeah.
and balance.
Yeah, that makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
that's the one where they have to jump from here and then jump forward without falling. Okay. So that's the broad jump. Let's go 3-cone. 3-cone does agility and speed tests conducted. Yeah, so it conducts the player's ability to change direction at a high speed. So I guess so the lower so it's almost like the 40 is the lower the 3 cone the better.
Yeah.
And it seems like the fastest 3 cone was 6.82 from local McMaster University Ethan Stewart. And then we have the shuttle, which is an agility test measuring an athlete's lethal quickness, acceleration, and change of direction ability. So really, if you're looking for a fast player, you want the 40, 3 cone, and shuttle. So if we look at the fastest people, okay, again, this isn't the greatest, but sometimes the fastest people don't always put up the highest 3 cone. But then Ethan Stewart, who put up the top 3 cone, also put up the fastest shuttle. And where was he? He was, I'd say top 15 in the fastest. So I could see his draft stock going up as far as, getting his name up there. Was there any players that you were looking at?
I mean, obviously, let's see here. Yeah. Well, one guy that has been talked about by a lot of people over this last month or so at the quarterback position, Eloa Latin Dresse Regime Bald out of McGill. And recently, 3 Down Nation did a article on him where apparently he said he would be willing to possibly change his position from quarterback to, I don't know, like running back or wide receiver, I guess. But that's sort of how versatile he is as a player. He's definitely um one of those more like scrambler archetypes in terms of quarterbacks, and like you see right there with his combine numbers, 4.62 in the 40-yard dash, and then he also had some pretty decent 3 cone and shuttle as well. So yeah, he's definitely a very agile QB.
So if we, so this is a CFL article. So this is the 3 players that dominated this CFL combine testing. So we have, I'm just going to call him Jesu, because I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first and last name. So Jesu, the receiver from Wilfrid Laurier, was one of them. He was the highest for the vertical jump. You also had the 5th fastest 40-yard dash, clocking in at 4.58, and was tied for 4th in the 3 cone at 6.97, and jumped the 5th best in broad jump at 10.7 and 7/8. And then again, there's that quarterback that you were mentioning, from McGill. And then the third one was Nicholas Henning.
Oh yeah.
From offense lineman from Queens, who I noticed a lot of people were talking about on social media about. Even Marshall Ferguson even mentions him as that he looked like every bit as a CFL vet. So I could see him possibly going high in the draft. Then there's, I should have just went to the top of the article. 3 prospects that upped their stock after the CFL Combine testing day. So let's see. So Luis Felipe Gauthier, defensive back out of Montreal, showed the most important traits of a player in his position. Needs with speed with a 4.5 40-yard dash. Gauthier finished comfortable ahead of Windsor running back.
Doing the recording? I just got. And Tom.
So yeah, so he finished second place with a 4.55 second run. Patrick Cumberbatch, defensive back for Ottawa GGs, finished first in the vertical jump with 38 inches, fourth in the broad jump, 10 feet 8 inches, while finishing tied for sixth in the 40-yard dash with a 4.59 second run. And then here we go again. Ethan Stewart, defensive back, McMaster, rounds out the trio. He finished first in the 3-cone drill, 6.82 seconds, and then a shuttle at 4.01. And then this one was the NCAA 6 players to watch at the CFL Combine. There was Eric Rasco, linebacker from Angelo State. I want to say that is that a D2 school? I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
Okay. Malik
Miyaga.
Miyaga, receiver, Coastal Carolina. Yeah, they're G1. Tristan Marois, defensive line, Colorado. Christian Vayu, quarterback, Georgia State. And then there's Baron Miles Jr., receiver, Grambling State. Definitely has to be a D2 school. Never heard of that.
That's an HBCU. It's at the FCS level.
Oh, okay.
HBCUs are historically black colleges and universities.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. And then Cypress McGarrell, defensive back, Northern Illinois State. So, just before we go into John's mock draft, we are going to look at the key dates. So, we are at. So this weekend we have the draft combine. So most likely today, they have the one-on-ones. We will be live on the 28th for the CFL draft for all 8 rounds. The next day that you got the global draft at 1 p.m. Rookie camps begin on the 6th. And then you have cut downs. So 85 players. So basically, excluding non-counters are players that are going back to school. Also your draft picks as well. That have not. I want to say that I have not had any professional starting time. So anyone that went back to school last year is a non-counter. Anyone that's going back to school this year is a non-counter. Trading camp opens on the 10th. So the 10th, 11th, and 12th, I will be at McMaster for the Ticats training camp. But yeah, so then they have to cut 10 players by the 12th. So we will have all of that news as well. Now we will get to John's mock draft. So let me just get my list of names. So if you were Ottawa, number 1, who would you be taking first overall? Keep in mind, Ottawa has gone out and said that they'd be open to trading the pick.
Yeah.
So if you're Ottawa, do you trade it or do you keep it?
I think I think I would keep it, honestly.
Okay, so if you're keeping it, who you taking?
So obviously new coach and also with the GM responsibilities, Ryan Dinwiddie up there. So obviously I think for this draft he would like to start by sort of building in the trenches. So since this is such a deep offensive line class this year, I think that's where he would go. Um and obviously I think the one that they would pick, he's been talked about a lot these last couple of weeks. The kid from Purdue, Giordano Vaccaro, or Vasaro, however it's pronounced.
Give me 1 second. CFL. Okay, I just want to make sure that I. Okay, so that's the Winnipeg native.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, Toronto.
I think they could go a similar think that they could go a similar way here. Because obviously last year, Toronto had a ton of injuries on that offensive line. Like it was it was actually a horrible situation. Not that I hated to see their downfall, um but definitely it was a really tough situation. And obviously their new coach, Mike Miller, I believe.
Yeah, who was
Um
their quarterbacks coach last year?
yeah. Obviously, since he was their quarterbacks coach, he's obviously seen what their offense went through last year, so I think that he would obviously not want that to happen again. So just to sort of get some more, not just some more starting potential at the offensive line position there, but um also maybe some more depth. They could they should they should be acquiring an offensive lineman with their second pick. But as I said, it's a very deep class this year. There's a lot of good players from the NCAA level, but then there's also a lot of good ones at the U Sports um, circuit. So I think right here, though, since it's such a toss-up between who the top offensive lineman actually is, here is sort of like 1B at the offensive line, and I have them going with Albert Reese from Mississippi State.
Okay, so Albert Reese is an offensive lineman who resides out of Edmonton. Okay, next up would be the Edmonton Elks.
This, I mean, obviously this whole draft is interesting because sort of with how free agency is, like you don't really know exactly what your team will need because of like how much turnover happens with teams in the CFL. But um Edmonton obviously no more Trey Ford there anymore, and now they've got
Tony
they're gonna be
Fajardo and
yeah
Taylor
they're,
Powell.
they're gonna be having a full season of Cody Fajardo now, and we'll see if Taylor Powell even gets any starting reps there. But they could honestly make they could have a season that no one's really expecting next year. But then again, they could also be as as bad as they've been the past couple of years. So it's honestly hard to tell at this point. But with the draft, let's see. They did just get a guy like Austin Mack, and they got O'Leary Orange at receiver. Robicelli went there now. Um, hmm. I think for Edmonton, I'm gonna go defensive line, and I'll have them picking Nuer Gatcloff out of Wake Forest, who only recently, by the way, actually applied to be a part of this draft once his eligibility ran out.
Oh, I'm not sure why this isn't. Okay, so now we have Winnipeg.
Yeah,
Number 4.
So Winnipeg is in an interesting spot right now because it's like obviously they're still gonna be good, but they've just got a lot of elements of their team that are
So
like aging right now, you know?
here's my thing with Winnipeg is Winnipeg will only go as far as Zach Claros will take them. They have no quarterback with CFL experience other than Zach Claros. So if Zach Claros goes down, until I see more of a sample size from their other quarterbacks at camp, that could be a scary thing.
Right, yeah. Now obviously they have definitely the oldest offensive lineman in the league, and Stanley Bryant still on their team, and then Jarrell Broxton as well. He's 33, so he's definitely getting up there. So I'm thinking maybe that's where they would go here for the draft. And I think I'm gonna continue with the
Offensive line.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue with the offensive line and continue with sort of the NCAA offensive line that's in this draft and go with Darius Bell here. He's definitely one of the top 3 offensive linemen here in this draft.
So for those that don't know, Darius Bell is an offensive lineman from Hamilton, Ontario that plays for East Carolina.
Yep. 6'3", 300 pounds. So he was not the biggest at the combine, but he was definitely up there with the dudes that they had. So will be interesting to see where he actually winds up in the draft. But now we've got Hamilton, and I think while it's hard to say what any of these teams will do in the draft, it's especially hard to say what your team might do
So
because
my thought is because offensive line they're set for a while, receiver they're set, quarterbacks they're set. I would say if they're gonna go anywhere, it will be. I don't know what the running backs are like this year, so if there's any good running backs, I could even see defensive line DB.
I could definitely see it. I could
we
definitely
have
see defensive back. Yeah.
we have Augustine, we have Litre, and then we have those three Americans. Then we have actually, you know what? I haven't updated it in quite some time, but let me actually have this. Let me just open this up here. I know there's a few that are missing that I have to add, but this is where we sit so far. So we have 4 running backs, and then if you classify Litre, so I don't, depending on how these 3 show in camp. Wide receiver, we're set. Offensive line, we're set. I want to say if we're going to go defensive line, it's going to be a defensive tackle. With Verisuk gone to the NFL, and McManus is only a 1-year deal, possibly a linebacker. But other than that, I could honestly see them going DB.
Oh yeah. And I think I already know the
pick.
The direction I'm taking. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're the committee, as I call them in Hamilton, which pick are you going with?
Taking Jet Elad out of Rutgers, defensive back. He's the top defensive back on my board.
From Mississauga, Ontario.
Yeah. Top defensive back on my board, top defensive back for a lot of other insiders in the game, so I think it's a pretty simple pick there.
So with that, we are now at just over the halfway point of the first round. So if you're Dave Dickinson, where do you go 6th overall?
Let's see here. I'm taking a look at this roster they've got. Honestly, with a lot of these teams that were in the playoffs, it is tough to say because while a lot of them did lose talent to the free agent market, a lot of them are good enough to where they can pretty easily supplement that with their own additions. And obviously, I think Calgary's probably good at the wide receiver position. They've got Dejon Brissett now.
I was going to say with Calgary's wide receivers, don't forget Reggie Bagleton's going to be back this year. That was injured all of last season.
Clark Barnes, Jalen Philpott. So yeah, they're pretty stacked at that position. Running back, they're good because they have Mills, they have McMahon now,
McMahon,
whatever.
So I wonder if they're gonna start naming it McMahon Stadium.
Yeah. If they ever need anyone other than those two, they've got Michigan State's K'Ron Lynch Adams. At QB, I feel like they're probably good for now. Vernon Adams is sort of like a young 33 years old right now. Like he's still got a lot left in him. And also they did literally just take a QB in last year's draft when they got Quincy Vaughn. So I don't think that's what they'd be looking at. So I think this might be another pick at the position of line, but actually no. I'm gonna pick a linebacker for them, and we're gonna pick Daryl Jabome out of Rutgers, linebacker.
And he is from Longueuil, Quebec. Linebacker. Next up, BC Lions.
Yeah, so they won't need a defensive back, most likely. Let's see here. They did just get Darnell Sankey, but I don't really know about any of their other linebackers here. And Sankey is 31, so there's only so many
Let's
more.
take. So their linebacker group. Let's see. So you have Sankey and Ben Haletic as, I'm pretty sure, your weak side and middle linebacker, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. At wide receiver, you've got McGinnis, you've got Hatcher, you've got Couture, you've got Berryhill, you've got Mayala, so they're stacked at that position. And there are no real first round running backs here, so I would not take one of those here, which not like they really need a first round running back anyway, because they do have James Butler still, but I'm gonna take an offensive lineman here, I think, and we're gonna take Jonathan Denai from Louisiana Tech.
Okay, and it's interesting because it says that he's from Homestead, Florida, unless he's a born Canadian that moved down to the States.
Yeah, let's see.
So with Montreal Alouettes, where do you see them going here?
I see him going wide receiver here. And you know what? I think I'm gonna have him take Nick Senecal here. Alpha Y.
Hometown wide receiver. Okay, which leaves us with the last pick in the first round. The Grey Cup champs, the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Now, they were obviously able to keep their core together for the most part.
Defensive wise or offensive line wise, yes. They lost a lot on defense.
Yeah. I'm gonna give him a defensive back here, and that defensive back will be Malcolm Bell from Michigan State.
Okay. Sorry, which player? Malcolm Bell? Okay, DB.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now we move up to the second round. Let's see here. Before we do that, let's do a little ding ding, like and subscribe if you like the content. So we're gonna start with the second round. This is gonna be the Ottawa Red Blacks' second pick in the draft.
Where could they go here? Already got them an offensive lineman with the first pick.
John's like, tough choices, tough choices. Funny thing would be is if come draft night, if these picks actually got nailed, John's like, yeah, future scout right here.
Yeah. We'll see. I will give them a defensive back as well. And we'll take Devin Cromwell, Michigan State.
Okay, Devin Cromwell is from Toronto.
So, actually, he wouldn't be that far from where he's from.
No, I'm just saying, like, just telling people where these people, their hometown is located. So now we are back at Toronto with their first of two picks in the second round.
Wow. Oh yeah. Wait, is the one from BC because BC got Dejan Allen?
No, so give me 1 second here. The 16th pick is because of yes, that is because of the Dejan Allen trade.
Oh, and then the
BC one is the Vernon Adams
right. Yeah.
trade. And then 19 and 20 are the two extra picks due to Canadian most Canadian talent.
Right. Okay. Let's see. So I'm not going D-line here for Toronto because just recently Paris Shand came up to Canada. He was their draft pick last year, and after trying himself out at the NFL camps, he now decides to go back up north, and then they also have Dwayne Hendricks, and they have Ralph Hawley and all that, so I don't think that's where I'd go. Much like Hamilton, they have an interesting situation at the running back position. Their best running back is, I don't know, Peyton Logan. No offense to him, of course, but let's see.
I don't even think that there's that many that good of running backs.
No, probably not here. So I think for them,
there's only 4 running backs at the draft combine.
It's a tough one. Let's go D-line. I'm gonna give them Wesley Bailey from Louisville.
Okay, and Wes Bailey is from Ottawa. So defensive line. Okay. Next up will be the Edmonton Elks.
Now, one position that's very interesting in this draft is definitely tight end, because there's only so many CFL teams that are actually going to use a tight end.
Yours truly.
So that means that there's only so many teams that will actually be picking.
I mean, you could kind of use a tight end as a fullback and block.
Yeah, that is true. And let's see. Other than Ford or Metier, I don't really know any of their other defensive backs that they've got here. I mean, I guess at points last year, guys like Cordell Jackson and Kenneth Logan were both pretty good, but other than that, yeah, I think I'll go defensive back here. And we will go with one Trey Tomlinson out of Louisiana.
Okay. And so keep in mind, so far, still not drafted. Now, I don't know if this is because people think that these players are going to be going to the NFL or not. Is the top-ranked Akeem Mizdor, defensive line, Miami. He's from Ottawa. And Logan Taylor, offensive line, Boston College from Nova Scotia. I don't know if
According
those. Oh,
according
go ahead.
according to sources, both of those guys are at the very least gonna get a rookie camp invite.
Oh, those
Mesidor,
UFDAs or whatever you want to call it.
yeah, Mesidor might be drafted in the second to third round range in the NFL, while Logan Taylor, he's a lot lower of a pick, I think, but yeah, he'll at least get some interest. So yeah, that's both of those guys are most likely guys that these CFL teams are gonna pick in probably like the 7th or 8th rounds of this draft, just to grab their rights and nothing more than that. Now we've got Winnipeg, had them with an O lineman, and
Keep in mind, this is Winnipeg's second of 2 picks in the second round.
right. So honestly, this might be a interesting pick, but since Zach Collaros is just getting older, I think I'm gonna have him picking Christian Bayou here.
Oh, okay. Now, do keep in mind that they also have Taylor Algersma, but Taylor Algersma seems like he's set on going to the NFL. So you're saying Christian Bayou.
Yeah, I mean Christian Bayou, even if he wanted to, he's probably not going to the NFL. But also, it seems like Elgersma, I mean,
from what I've seen, he's dead set on going to the NFL.
yeah, it's not like he doesn't want the CFL, but he'd probably rather be an NFL player.
If you had the opportunity, like, let's face it, this offseason, Chris Streveler retired. Winnipeg has no good backup quarterback, and you choose the UFL over the CFL.
I mean, he was drafted to a situation where, as you said, guy retires, and then you've got a bunch of people who have never taken a CFL snap. And instead, he went to the CFL, where yesterday he
UFL.
was, UFL, right? Where yesterday he was rendered inactive for their game, and he didn't even have an injury. They
No,
just,
it was the work visa.
oh yeah, that's right. But since he's literally from Canada, he wouldn't need a visa or anything to play up there. So why would
That's
you?
what a lot of people are saying. It's like, why would you go down to the States and having to deal with the work visa when you can come up to Canada, play in Canada, longer contract?
I don't get it. Anyway,
We don't make the decisions there. We just analyze them. So with Hamilton's second pick in the draft,
so I think I'll go running back here.
okay.
Now, some that are maybe closer to the to like actual scouting, like maybe one of my sources, some might question me deciding to make this pick here, but
But do keep in mind, drafts teams will go off the board.
yeah. So I think obviously Hamilton would want the best running back off the board here, so we're taking Weogbe Mambo out of Windsor. In the CFL Combine, he posted a 4.55 40, and I mean, just watching this film, he's such a tough running back. Wait, wait. Why'd you? That is not who I. It's not who I said.
You said out of Windsor.
Yeah, Mambo out of Windsor.
Oh, they have. Okay, I didn't realize that they had 2 running backs out of Windsor.
Yeah, they have.
Okay,
They've two.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that there's 2 Windsor quarterback or running backs going for the same thing. Okay, gotcha. Same. We're on the same page now.
Cool.
Okay, so this is BC's second round pick that they got in the Vernon Adams trade.
Right.
Just for those people watching.
Let's see here. So first round, I had him taking a lineman. Hmm. You know what? Let's shore up their defensive back position, and I'll have them taking Luis Philippe Gautier out of Montreal. Hopefully any Quebecois watching this liked my pronunciation.
That's the one. Oh, what position was he?
Defensive back. It's Luis Philippe
Oh yes, okay.
Gautier. Ran a 4.5 in the 40.
Okay. Next up is Toronto via BC. This is the second round pick in the Dejon Allen. I was going to say Damian Allen, but Dejon Allen trade.
Just in terms of need, I'm going to also have them picking a running back here as well, just like Hamilton. So I will have them pick Isaiah Smith out of Guelph.
Running back. So next up is Montreal Alouettes.
First round, I had them pick Senecal. Honestly, they don't really need a ton, but let's see. Let's take Keegan O'Neill from Western.
Position.
Offensive lineman.
Okay. O'Neill. That's on. Oops. Okay, so Saskatchewan.
Going with Charlie Parks here out of Saskatchewan.
Okay. Defensive line, Charlie Parks. So now Edmonton's second round pick, and this one is because they were the top team to have the most Canadian players dressed this year. So that's how they got the 19th pick. So far you have them with a defensive line and a DB.
Just for fun, let's give him Emmerich Boutine, fullback / tight end out of Laval. And he's very clearly the third best tight end in this draft class.
Emmerich?
Yeah, Emmerich Boutine.
Fullback / tight end. Okay, and the second round pick for Winnipeg.
Continuing with that trend, I'm going to have Winnipeg take Rowan Jones out of Arkansas, tight end / fullback, but mostly tight end, obviously.
Okay, and to start the third round, just for content spaces, this third round pick to Ottawa is one that they was involved in the Niles Morgan from Ottawa to Edmonton, or from Edmonton to Ottawa trade.
Yeah. Darius McKenzie, linebacker.
Next up would be the Toronto Argonauts.
Let's see, so I already had them take a O lineman, I had them take a D lineman, and I had them take a running back. So with this pick, I will have them take out of McGill Aloha Vandres Regimbald, quarterback.
So this is another one of those Niles Morgan trade picks. So this is Ottawa via Edmonton.
Okay. Nolan Ulm, wide receiver out of Eastern Washington.
Receiver, not right wing, wide receiver. Okay, Winnipeg.
With Winnipeg, I think I'll go in the same direction. Nate DeMontagnac out of North Dakota. Yeah.
Okay, so Hamilton's third round pick. You had us selecting a DB and a running back.
I'm gonna go linebacker here. Let's go with Osasere Odemwingie out of Calgary. He's a linebacker.
Linebacker. Okay, one out of two Calgary's back-to-back picks.
Let's see. I know they probably wouldn't need one, but I'll have them pick QB Alex Vreeken out of Queens because I just don't really see any other real big needs for them right now.
You said Alex Freakin?
Alex Vreeken, like VRE. No,
Okay.
VR.
Because he wasn't listed on the draft combine. So it's VER.
He was at the Invitational Combine, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Rotational combined. Oh, there we go. Breeken. Quarterback. Okay, with their second, third round pick.
I'll give defensive lineman Renee Conga out of Louisville.
Oops. Oops, that's what I wanted. Screw off. Defense line. Not DK. Defensive line. There we go. Okay, next up is Montreal.
Now, this player here, he's very much sort of a sleeper type of guy for me. I'm gonna have them take running back Malcolm Bussey out of St. Francis.
Okay, and with the last pick in your mock draft, Saskatchewan Roughriders.
All right, let's see here. I'm gonna have them pick Dylan DeHitt out of Alabama State, wide receiver.
Okay, let's try. Okay, so he's not. Oh, there we go. Dylan. Wide receiver. So this is John's mock draft of the first 3 rounds. We will be live on April 28th to see to go through all 8 rounds of the draft. I don't know John's plans that night, but I plan to do all 8 rounds.
I probably will too, yeah.
So you'll have raw live reaction to the picks. So do join us back on April 28th. It is a Tuesday. I believe it's at 7, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, not. Let me. 7 p.m. Eastern time. We will have the live draft. So any news that breaks during the week, I'll probably have like a pre 30-minute discussion before the draft begins. The first 2 to 3 rounds will be on TSN. The rest of them will be online. But yeah, I do appreciate everyone for stopping by, watching our hour and 20-minute long draft preview. This is Rick from Hamilton Sports Central, along with John, our lovely friend and scout, upcoming scout. But I do appreciate everyone for stopping by, and have yourself a great rest of your day.